Here's a number: 299,792,458 meters per second. That's not the speed of light. Well, it is, but that's not what it is. That number is the speed of causality. It's how fast one event can reach out and touch another event. It's the maximum rate at which anything, any signal, any influence, any piece of information about what just happened can propagate through space. The universe chose to make that number finite, not infinite, finite. And everything strange about alien contact, everything strange about relativity, everything strange about why we might be permanently and irreversibly alone, all of it falls out of that one choice. So let's follow it. Ole Rømer was doing something tedious in 1676, watching Io, one of Jupiter's moons, disappear into Jupiter's shadow over and over, trying to compile a table for sailors. Sailors needed it for navigation. Useful, dull. He was the astronomical equivalent of a timekeeper punching a clock, except the clock kept lying. When Earth was moving toward Jupiter, Io's eclipses arrived early. When Earth swung away, they arrived late. Cumulative difference across Earth's full orbital diameter, about 300 million kilometers, was roughly 22 minutes. Rømer realized what this meant immediately. Light is not instantaneous. It takes time to cross that 300 million kilometers. About 22 minutes worth of time. He was off by a few percent. The real answer is closer to 16 minutes. But he had it, the first measurement of the speed of causality. And nobody fully appreciated what he'd actually found. What he'd found was that every observation is a time machine pointed backward. When Rømer looked at Io, he wasn't seeing Io. He was seeing Io as it was 35 to 52 minutes ago, depending on where Jupiter sat in the sky. There was no way, none, zero, not with better equipment, to know where Io actually was at that moment. Right now at Jupiter was not something Rømer had access to. It's not something anyone has access to. The light takes the time it takes. Scale this outward and things start getting genuinely strange. Proxima Centauri, the nearest star, is 4.24 light-years away. The light arriving in your eye tonight left 4.24 years ago. That star could have exploded 3 years ago. You won't know for another year. The Andromeda Galaxy is 2.537 million light-years away. The photons hitting the Hubble telescope right now left during the Pleistocene when mammoths were alive. What Andromeda looks like tonight, no human will ever observe it. The people who observe it will be alive in 2.537 million years. Now, aliens, pick a civilization. Put them on a planet orbiting 55 Cancri. A real star, 41 light-years away. Real system, probably has real planets, may or may not have anything living on them. Doesn't matter for the physics. Any signal they sent 41 years ago is arriving at Earth now. If they detected our first radio broadcast, which only started reaching them recently, any response they send arrives in 41 years. Round trip 82 years. If a scientist there got excited in 2024 and immediately transmitted "We heard you," their great-grandchildren will be the ones who see our reply. You might say, okay, that's inconvenient, but it doesn't mean we can't communicate at all. We just have to be patient. And I'd say sure, except you haven't heard the second part yet. In 1905, Einstein published a paper that started from one strange experimental fact. The speed of light is the same for all observers. Doesn't matter if you're moving toward the light source or away from it. Doesn't matter how fast. You measure 299,792,458 meters per second every time. This had been established experimentally. Michelson and Morley failed to detect any variation in 1887, which confused everyone. And Einstein was the one who took it seriously enough to follow the logic all the way down. Where it goes is here. If light speed is constant for everyone, then simultaneity is not. Two events that happen at the same time, according to one observer, do not happen at the same time according to an observer moving relative to the first, not approximately the same time. Genuinely, fundamentally, not simultaneous. Both observers are correct. There is no absolute fact of the matter about which happened first. The events are what physicists call space-like separated, and their temporal order depends on who's asking. This is not a philosophical puzzle. This is what clocks actually do when you fly them around in airplanes and compare them to clocks that stayed on the ground. The airborne clocks tick differently. We measure it. GPS satellites have to correct for it continuously without relativistic corrections. Your GPS would accumulate errors of kilometers per day. So when you ask, what are the aliens doing right now? That question has no clean answer. Right now at 41 light-years is reference frame dependent. different observers moving at different velocities, would slice up the space-time differently and disagree about what counts as now over there. There's no master cosmic clock. Einstein killed it. But here's what I find most remarkable, and where the prison metaphor earns its name. Physicists think about this geometrically. Take any event, any point in space, at a specific moment in time, draw a cone, expanding outward from it at the speed of light. That's the future light cone. Every location that event can causally influence. Draw a cone converging inward from the past. That's everything that could have causally influenced this event. Everything outside both cones, that big sideways region, is called elsewhere. Elsewhere is not just unobserved, it's causally disconnected. No signal, no influence, no information crosses from elsewhere into your light cone. Not with better technology, not with clever engineering. The structure of space-time prevents it. An event in your elsewhere cannot affect you, and you cannot affect it. You share nothing. The alien civilization 41 light-years away is, at this exact moment, in our elsewhere. Every living being over there, every thought, every event happening right now, outside our light cone. Causally unreachable. The prison isn't made of bars. It's made of geometry. Now I know what you're thinking. What about quantum entanglement? Two particles prepared in a correlated state, separated, measured. The results are correlated instantaneously, regardless of distance. Einstein hated this so much, he spent years trying to prove it was wrong. He called it spooky action at a distance, and co-authored a paper in 1935 arguing that quantum mechanics must be incomplete, that there must be some hidden information, like a secret agreement the particles made before separating. He was wrong. John Bell proved in 1964 that no theory with local hidden variables can reproduce quantum predictions. Alan Aspect tested it experimentally in 1982. The correlations are real, they are not explainable by any prearranged signal, and they are instantaneous. Spooky action at a distance is real. So does this break the prison? Can we use entanglement to communicate faster than light? No. And the reason is beautiful. When you measure your entangled particle, you get a random result. Spin up, spin down. Quantum mechanics gives you probabilities, not certainties. Your partner across the galaxy measures theirs, gets a random result. Later, when you compare notes by classical means, a phone call, a radio signal, something traveling at light speed or slower, you discover the results were correlated, anti-correlated, say. But here's the thing, before you compare notes, neither of you has learned anything about the other. Your result was random, theirs was random. The correlation only becomes visible when you bring the two results together, and bringing them together requires a classical signal. The spooky non-locality is real. The causal influence is absent. Nature arranged quantum mechanics so that the non-locality is real but uncontrollable. You can't use it to send a message because you can't choose what result you get when you measure. This is frankly suspicious. The universe seems to have thought very carefully about preserving causality while still being genuinely, measurably non-local. What this means philosophically, whether quantum mechanics is telling us something deep about the nature of reality and locality, is genuinely unsettled. The mathematics is clear. The interpretation is a fistfight that's been ongoing since 1927. So the light cone wins. Entanglement doesn't rescue us. Here's the full shape of the prison then. Any alien civilization is causally isolated from us for all events closer than its light travel distance. A civilization 100 light-years away has been causally isolated from knowledge of our existence until the last few decades. We only started broadcasting radio around 1920, and those signals are now roughly 104 light-years out. A civilization 1,000 light-years away doesn't know we exist yet, won't for another 900 years. Any civilization we might contact at 1,000 light-years, the round trip on a single exchange is 2,000 years. Civilizations rise and fall in less than that. And the observable universe, the sphere of space from which light has had time to reach us since the Big Bang, has a radius of about 46 billion light-years. Beyond that edge, there are almost certainly more galaxies, more stars, possibly more civilizations. But they are outside our light cone permanently. Space is expanding, and regions beyond roughly 14 billion light-years are receding faster than light can close the gap. Not because anything is moving through space faster than light, that's still forbidden, but because the space between us is growing. Those regions will never enter our light cone. We will never have causal contact with them. Not in any amount of time. If there's a civilization 50 billion light-years away having their equivalent of the invention of writing right now, we will never know. Not eventually. Never. The universe has regions that are causally sealed off from us as completely as if they didn't exist. The prison isn't cruel. It's not a punishment. It's the geometry of a universe where causality has a speed limit and space is large and expanding. Every point in the universe is the center of its own light cone, in contact with its own causal past, able to influence its own causal future, isolated from everything in its elsewhere. That's the structure. That's what 299,792,458 meters per second, taken seriously, actually means. We might not be alone in the universe, but the universe is under no obligation to let us find out.